It's nice to be together once again for Shabbat. It's been a long week. Of late, every week feels really long. So let's just take a couple seconds for each of us in our own way to settle in, leave the outside world out there, and try to come into this space, this holy space, and this sacred time that's the gift of Shabbat. Okay, so tonight our Bima guest is Sheila, and music is by Vive, and streaming is by Travis, and service participation is by everyone who's sitting in a chair, and we're glad you're here. So we're going to start tonight with Ma Yafeh Hayom, which can be found on page 10.
Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom.
We'll continue with the lighting of our candles, page 3.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehatliknen shel
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Sheila. So as we sit and look at the candles and we see the light that's bringing more positive flow into the world, trying to overcome some of the darkness that surrounds us. And light is also a symbol of hope. And I hope and I believe you do too, that when we gather together next Shabbat, that the world as a whole will be in a better place than it is on this Shabbat. Let's join together on the top of page 6. We enter this sanctuary to welcome Shabbat. Within these walls, we sit surrounded by numberless generations. Our ancestors built the synagogue as a visible sign of God's presence in their midst. Throughout our long history and our endless wanderings, it has endured, a beacon of truth, love, and justice for all humanity. Its presence guided our ancestors to lives of righteousness, holding up to them a vision of their truest selves. Now we, in our turn, come into this sanctuary to affirm the sacredness of our lives. May we enter this place in peace. May holiness wrap around us as we cross its threshold. Weariness, doubt, the flaws within our human hearts, the harshness of the weak, let these drop away at the door. In the brightness of Shabbat, let peace settle upon us as we lift our hearts in prayer. We're going to continue on page 10 with Hine Matov, and the vocalist will be cantor Natalie Young. Continue now with the Baruch, our call to worship, page 28. I invite you to rise as the ark is opened. Harper, want to help? be seated. We're going to continue on page 30 as we join together in English on the bottom of page 31. This is an hour of change. Within it we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. There are times in each of our lives when we're faced with a decision, when we need to decide if we're going to go someplace new, try something new, proverbially crossing over, or are we going to stay where we are to draw back from change, from new possibilities, from new choices. And when we make these decisions, they influence our lives, and they can make a positive difference for us. Taking new steps is not always easy because we don't know where we will land. When we think of the Israelites who left Egypt, they crossed over. And we know there are times when they were in the desert, not only that they complained, but they wanted to go back to Egypt. They remembered Egypt in a way that it was not. They didn't remember the pain, the slavery. They thought of it with nostalgic minds. Drawing back or crossing over is a choice that we are often faced with. Page 32, we're going to continue with the singing of Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat Olam, Beit Yisrael, Amcha Ahavta, Sorry. Torah u'mitzvot, chukim u'mishpatim, otanu limadeta, Al Ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shachbenu, u'kumenu naseach bechukecha, ונשמח בדברי תורתך, מצוותיך לעולם ועד. כי הם חיינו, ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם בלילה, נגע יומם בלילה, ואהבתך אל תסיר. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Let us rise physically or in spirit for Shema Yisrael, the watchword of our faith, page 34. as we continue together on page 36 with the chanting of Ve'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אדוני אלוהיכם אמת.
Page 39. We're going to read this together, and then I'm going to pass the mic and give each person an opportunity to say literally like one, maximum two sentences, or even a word or two that comes to mind when you read this passage. This is a passage that we read right before we sing Mi Chamocha. Obviously, Passover is just days away. And so as we think about our history, as we think about the freedom that our ancestors gained after over 400 years of slavery, we connect ourselves to this historic event, a part of our history, a big part. And so let's each take a moment to think about, and then if you feel comfortable, share out loud. So the top of 39. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands, marching together. So what comes to mind for me are the words hope and the words community.
Like the reading says, we're always coming out of Egypt. And in a bizarre way, if we're lucky, we always will be coming out of Egypt.
Parted shores of history. I'm not sure what that means. Is it a crossroads? Is it a way to go, left or right, good or evil, freedom, slavery? It's just an interesting concept.
I think about this huge mass of people in the desert wandering towards a location, not really knowing what's going to be there for them.
Can you hold the mic really close because it doesn't pick up?
Togetherness, that we should all work together and work for peace.
I hate to be a party pooper, but I wonder what the Egyptians always thought about this years and years and years ago and now.
As we see in the passage, it says stuff about kindness and stuff. kindness and community.
Community. Kindness and community. That the winding path to the promise passes through the wilderness. It's a lot of little stuff, and it's not easy, and the little stuff has to add up from everybody doing it.
So I was thinking, like, there will be no peace without us all coming together, from the last part where it says that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together.
I also liked the winding way through the wilderness, that we're scrappy people and we embrace the challenge. We're like, all right, we're just going to get through this and see what's on the other side. Hopefully it's better than what's here.
Is the promised land a destination or a journey?
What comes to mind for me is the Kabbalistic idea that the world is shattered to many pieces, and it's up to each of us to pick up the pieces and put it together again for Tikkun Olam.
I think of the motto of the state of Kentucky. How many of you know what it is? United we stand, divided we fall.
Travis, do you want to have a chance? No, okay. I appreciate and thank everyone who shared. Thank you. So, Micha Mocha can be found on page 40. And once again, we're going to hear Natalie Canto-Young, and feel free to join in, hum along, whatever works for you. So tonight is Shabbat. So we're going to join together in the middle of page 44 with the singing of Yismachu.
My rhythm section ready? Yismechu b'malechutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat mekorei, onei Shabbat. Yismechu b'malechutecha, shomrei, 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 Shabbat mekorei, Ratzita bo kidashto Shabbat, Emdad Yami, Oto Harata Shabbat, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Mikorei, Olei Shabbat, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Mikorei, Olei Shabbat, Sefer Lemase Bereshit Shabbat, Sefer Lemase Bereshit Shabbat, Yismechu b'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Torei Kolei Shabbat, Yismechu b'malechutecha, Shomrei, Shomrei, Shomrei Shabbat, Torei Kolei Shabbat.
We continue with the Amidah, page 46. We will open the ark. Please rise physically or in spirit. Please be seated. And this will be the last time that we will chant the winter insert, when we are chanting the Giverot, because starting next week, we will start chanting the summer insert. So why is that? Well, we started chanting the winter insert, which is asking for rain, right after Sukkot on Simchat Torah. Because in Israel, we know there's the rainy season and there's a dry season. So we hope that it doesn't rain on Sukkot because people want to sleep outside in their sukkah. So we start praying for rain after Sukkot all the way through Passover. And then when Passover comes, we recognize that God brings down the dew, with, the wet on the grass, but it's not raining. And the hope is that there's enough rain in the rainy season to last all throughout the summer months. Otherwise, there could be a drought, which has happened. And that's also in general, Israelis take very quick showers, and a lot of that has to do, they're very mindful of how much water they have and don't have. So since Passover begins next Wednesday evening, by the time we come here on Friday, it will be after. So next week, we will just chant Morid HaTal. Now we are going to continue on page 55, in the middle of the page, responsively. Disturb us, Adonai, ruffle us from our complacency. Make us dissatisfied with the peace of ignorance, the quietude which arises from a shunning of the horror, the defeat, the bitterness, and the poverty, physical and spiritual, of humans.
Shock us, Adonai. Deny us the false Shabbat, which gives us delusion, satisfaction, amid physical and spiritual abuse.
Even the word wrong. Wake us, O God, and shake us from the sweet and sad poignancies rendered by half-forgotten melodies and rubric prayers of yesteryears. How are you reading?
And the walls of your temples are not shelters, and the winds of truth, justice, and reality.
Disturb us, O God, and vex us. Let not your Shabbat be a day of torpor and slumber. Let it be a time to be stirred and spurred to action. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Without getting into a political conversation, those who, one way to be spurred to action is tomorrow there will be rallies throughout the country. We are going to continue now on page 59. God of goodness, we give thanks for the gift of life, wonder beyond words, for the awareness of soul, our light within, for the world around us, so filled with beauty, for the richness of the earth, which day by day sustains us. For all these and more, we offer thanks. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulacha na'eh lehodot. So this is an opportunity to share aloud, if you would like, what are you thankful for tonight? What are you grateful for? So who wants to go first? Lily. And then Lily, you can pass left, and then you guys can pass.
I'm grateful for, like, our food, because we went food shopping and we got food. I'm grateful for my food.
I'm thankful for my mom, and I'm thankful that I get to be here today.
I'm thankful for many things. Running water is always a modern luxury, as well as the sunshine, so beautiful this beginning spring, so grateful.
I'm grateful for embarking on a new journey.
I'm grateful that we're all here tonight.
I'm grateful for medical advancements and neonatologists and NICUs, not just for this one that's born, but my sister that's fixing to have a baby, she's going to be born a little bit early because she's just not grown, but they are so confident that she's going to be okay because of the new medical advancements just since she's been born, and I'm super thankful my niece is going to be okay.
I'm grateful for my family.
Grateful for my wife, Deborah Shalom, and all the friends we have. And
Grateful for my husband and for my family and friends, community, and glad to be here tonight.
I'm grateful for being here with all of you in this place tonight, doing what we're doing.
I'm also grateful for food, specifically coconut yogurt.
Grateful for my wife, my daughter, and for the realization of dreams.
I'm grateful for my family, and I truly am grateful to be sitting in this space with a bigger circle than we usually have. On page 60, we find Shalom Rav. There are so many places in this world, literally, across the globe, where peace is lacking, physical peace, many with emotional peace. The world needs a lot of healing, and let us, through our actions, tip the scale even a little bit by showing kindness and love and compassion to each other. Shalom Rav.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Tassim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Tassim Leolam. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav Yisrael Tassim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Tassim Leolam. V'tov einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael. V'chol leitu v'chol shana yishlomecha. Shalom Rav Yisrael Tassim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Tassim Leolam. Tassim Leolam. Tassim Leolam.
We now think of our loved ones and keep them in our prayers for healing on this Shabbat Eve. Sherry Davies, Leah Dolman, Malia Willis, Judy Yesowich, Lev Dickerman, Carla Dunbar, John Lermit, Nash Zaid, Rich Goldwyn, Jim Todd, Madeline Scarborough, Sharon Pratt, Steve Duval, Susan Charlton, Austin Naamani, Carrie Kaplan, Shara Rasachan, Stephen Rasachan. And you have an opportunity to add the names of your loved ones.
The people of Ukraine.
Oksana Brudner, Gaba Gavi, Igor Pergam, Igor Brinstein, Sarah Soletto, John Pample, Rich Goldwyn, Larry Goldwyn, Alan Carrico, and Leah Coleman.
Dave and Polly Brucker, Mark Silverstein.
Linda Adelson Strong, Justin Strong.
Aunt Jojo and Miss Haley.
Jordan and Eliana Scott, Haley Baker.
Norma Rothenberg.
All the people that I've spoken to in the last 2 weeks who needed healing from various ailments.
Marie Rosenberg.
Laura Metzger, Cherry Stuman, Shelby Stuman, Deidre Bradley.
We continue in the middle of page 253 with our Misha Berach prayer for healing. We continue with our own prayers and thoughts. Thank you, Aviv. So as already mentioned, this is our last Shabbat before Passover. So this is the time to eat all the chametz you want and enjoy it. And, I just thought the other day, came to me, that maybe, perhaps this Sunday we should have had a chametz hoedown here. Kind of had like a, French toast and all kinds of fun breakfast. So maybe next year, on the Sunday before Passover, we could have that Tuesday, we could have a
have it in the middle of Pesach and do matzah pizza.
matzah pizza. We could do that too. A matzah bread cook-off. There are synagogues who do that. They make like one synagogue I know, they make like 30 different types of matzah brie. Literally. They make all kinds. It's like And some I wouldn't want to eat, but some people do. To each his own. As my father of blessed memory would say, that's what makes a horse race, right? So tonight, as I said, this is our last Shabbat. And this Shabbat is one of those Shabbatot that has a specific name. Tonight is called Shabbat Hagadol, the great Shabbat, right? The really, really big Shabbat, but it's the great Shabbat. And it's always the Shabbat before Passover. So why is it called Shabbat Hagadol? Well, one reason was it was traditional and customary and expected for the rabbis to give a really extra long sermon, great as in long, like really long. And of course, there would be all kinds of instructions for how do you prepare for Passover, how do you prepare your home, what do you do with your chametz, and all the laws and rules pertaining to Passover. So it was a very, 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 very long sermon, but don't worry, you're not going to have to sit through an extra long one tonight. The other reason it's called Shabbat Hagadol has to do with the Haftarah portion, the reading from the prophets that corresponds with this Shabbat. So in the book of Malachi, we read, "Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and awesome day of the Lord." So obviously the word great, and talking about Elijah. So we know that when we open the door during the Seder, and I'm going to ask some of the younger people like Lily and Harper and perhaps some other young people, like maybe Autumn, maybe Noah, to open the door for Elijah. And we open the door for Elijah because our tradition teaches that when Elijah comes, what happens? He comes and sits at the table. He drinks some wine. Yes, when Elijah comes, Elijah heralds the coming of the Messiah. So on Passover is one time particularly when we collectively pray for the Messiah to come. And one else, well, we sing, Eliyahu Hanavi, right? Elijah the prophet, right? And there's another time every week, when do we also hope for the coming of Elijah? On Havdalah, right? At the end of Shabbat, every week, we think maybe this is the week that the Messiah will come. So that has to do with the name, the Shabbat HaGadol. The sermons are long, and Malachi talks about the coming of the great and awesome day, and we, in fact, as we said, hope for Elijah the prophet to come. Now, when the song Elijah, Eliyahu Hanavi, talks about the coming, we hope he'll come because then the Messiah will follow. So what does it mean? According to Jewish tradition, what will happen, what will be, like how will we know that the Messiah has come? Looks like you want to say something. Okay, good. So yeah, so Ivy talked about that traditionally there's a concept of Mechaye Hametim, right? The resurrection of the dead. And if you look in our prayer book, this is the first Reformed prayer book that when we have the Givorot, when we sing Atagi Bor Le'olam Adonai, Mechaye, we say Hakol, right? And there's other, but in parentheses it says Metim. So Mechaye Hakol gives life to everything. Mechaye Hametim gives life to the dead. And it was taken out because our early reformers, they were like logical and practical, and they were like, oh, resurrection, that's not going to happen. They didn't believe in that. And it was cut, and they changed the wording. So this prayer book gives people a choice. And there are Reformed congregations that do say Mechaye Hametim. And the other part I will say is some people say, Mechaye Hametim doesn't, for those who don't think resurrection truly happens, although that is part of what we say happens when the Messiah comes, which is why a lot of people want to be buried in the Mount of Olives, which is right near the Western Wall, because those are the people that will be resurrected first. But there's also the idea of Mechaye Hametim, like emotionally, spiritually, okay? A person could be struggling so much, so down, and it just feels like this will never get better. I can't keep going on. Like, I just wish it was done already, you know? Sometimes people have illnesses that they don't know if they're going to recover from. People have losses of loved ones, and their grief is so intense, they think, I can't keep going. But eventually, and with time, they come back to life emotionally. So there are some who like Mechaye Hametim because it talks about that ability for us to find the joy in life once again. Okay, so in addition to resurrection, what else is part of the Jewish view of the Messiah? Any other guy? All right, Ivy, another guess. Absolutely. There'll be no more war. No more war, no more violence, no more terrorism, all that stuff that's associated, that will be gone, and it will be peace. It'll be peace for who? Everybody, the whole world. Our idea of the Messiah is a universal idea. It's not about this individual. It's the whole world, Jewish, not Jewish, it doesn't matter. Everyone will benefit because the world will be at peace. It will be God's kingdom on earth. We know the verses that we have in the Tanakh that let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks, right? No more war. That the lion will lay down with the lamb and they'll study war no more. There'll be no more starvation. People won't die from dirty water. I mean, think about it. We know how to make clean water. And there are parts of the world people die every day because they don't have it. There's enough food to feed the world, but it's not distributed. And think about how much food gets thrown out. There are places where you can't even donate locally. They forbid you to donate the bagels that you have at the end of the day or any other food. Anyway. So Eliyahu Hanavi is a time when we hope for Elijah, we hope for the coming of the Messiah, or for some, it's a messianic age. But the idea is the world will be much improved. And what's our part? What's our part in this? Lily, do you have a thought? No? Do you know what she was going to say? Autumn? So what's our part? How? Yes. Mark said to bring the Messiah. So he said by being just, right? So the idea is through our actions, what we do and how we live our lives for goodness, for good, for righteousness, for justice, for fairness, we hasten the coming of the Messiah. And there's also traditionally taught that every time we do a mitzvah, we hasten the coming of the Messiah. So when we light Shabbat candles, when we decorate our sukkah, when we hear the shofar blown, or when we give food to the hungry, or visit the sick, or accompanying the dead for burial, those are mitzvot too. Okay, so that's one song I wanted to talk about, Eliyahu Hanavi. I want to talk about one other that we're going to sing next week, Dayenu. So what does the word Dayenu mean?
Enough for us.
It would have been enough, right? Dai means enough in Hebrew, dai, and Dayenu enough for us. So the idea is that if God had brought us out of Egypt, it would have been enough. If God had only divided the sea, but we didn't cross through on dry land. If we crossed on dry land, but God didn't sustain us in the desert. If we didn't get the Torah, if we didn't get Shabbat, et cetera, like it would have been enough. And we sing that song, and we have a lot of fun with it, and this year Linda's going to be playing some music. She'll be playing some music for other couple songs. But this is the thought for us to think about. When do we say Dayenu? What is enough for us? Are there things in, like, are we right now, and you don't have to raise your hands, but unless you want to, you always can, but like, ask yourself, can I say Dayenu? Like, am I in a place of, you know what, I have enough. My life is full. I'm good. You know, if this is as good as it gets, I'm blessed. Or are there certain things that we would like to have or achieve for us to say Dayenu? Is it a particular degree? Is it owning a home? Is it having a certain car? Is it having a grandchild? What is that? Do we have something that we want to work towards or hope for? And is there a way to say Dayenu even if we don't get that thing that we so desperately want or think we need? And the flip side of that is, what are things in our life? What are things that we have that we could no longer have them and still say Dayenu? Right? What could we let go of in our lives? Right? Is there a certain amount of money we could not have and still say Dayenu? Is, if God forbid, something happened to us and we couldn't use all our limbs as much, or our eyes, right? Could we still say Dayenu? Because there are people who have had surgeries that have had to have parts of their body amputated, right? Can there be Dayenu? The examples are countless and endless, but my point is, as we think about Passover, there are some questions that we can think about, including the song Avadim Hayinu, which we will sing, right? We were slaves, now we are free. What enslaves us? Is there a habit or a behavior that we have that we've been trying to give up or change, but we haven't been able to, right? Like, what are the things in our personal lives that we are, quote unquote, enslaved to? So as we come together as a community to commemorate and to celebrate our freedom, our exodus from Egypt, going from being slaves to being free people, which is great to celebrate, and we'll joyfully do it, perhaps we might want to also take this time to think about our own personal freedoms and our own personal Dayenus, what enslaves us, and the idea of the Messiah. Shabbat Shalom. Sheila is going to, can you give Sheila the mic, please? She has the announcements.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody, and welcome to Temple Shalom. We're glad that you're here. Shabbat services tomorrow morning will be at 10:30 in the morning, and they will not be streamed. Our office will be closed on Wednesday, April 2nd, and Friday, April 3rd, and Wednesday, April 8th, in observance of Passover and Good Friday, and we hope everyone has a restful and meaningful holiday. Our Yizkor service for Pesach will be Saturday, April 11th at 10:30. Holocaust survivor Ruth Klein will be this year's keynote speaker at Jewish Louisville's Yom HaShoah program, Monday, April 13th, 6:30 p.m. at Adath Yeshurun. She will share her family's story about escaping to Shanghai, China during World War II. Registration is required. The community's Yom HaZikaron service is planned for April 20th, 5:30 to 6:30 at the JCC, and again, registration is required. Watts will hold its annual Mother's Day Shabbat on Friday, May 8th at 6:30 p.m., and Oneg will follow. In addition, you can honor those special people in your life, parents, siblings, children, that special friend, anyone special, with a contribution to the Mothers and Others Tribute, $18 for the first name and $5 for each additional name. Please make your check payable to the Women of Temple Shalom and send it to Sandy Flaxman no later than April 30th. Names will appear in the Temple Shalom e-blast. We're in year 3 of our Kadima campaign, and once again, a generous donor has offered to match our first $75,000. We're close, but we need your help to reach our goal and unlock that match. You can also support Temple Shalom and save all year long by purchasing a cash book for $20. $10 goes to Temple Shalom, and you get to enjoy valuable discounts on groceries, local restaurants, fun activities, and things throughout Louisville and the surrounding area. The coupons are good through the end of this year. To purchase books, contact Latanya at the Temple office or Matt Doctorow. More details about all of these events can be found in our weekly e-blast. If you're not receiving it, please contact Latanya and she will add you to the list. Thanks to Aviv for leading music tonight and to Travis for streaming. Shabbat Shalom.
If you're looking for a way to help the environment, Temple Shalom is organizing a trash pickup April 19th from 10:30 to 12:30. It's in the e-blast, and if you can come and make it, we've done it for, I think, 5 years now. We're going to be doing it at 9th Street and the Ohio River. There's parking there, and it's pleasant, but there's a lot of trash. And at the end of it, Temple Shalom is giving each person $10 to enjoy each other's company at Check's Cafe for lunch right afterwards. So.
Which I highly recommend. It's one of my 5 favorite restaurants in the whole city.
And I just want to mention that, for example, you know, Kadima is all about what can we do to enhance the experience of our congregants. So that's an example. Those who go and do this Tikkun Olam project, because one of our commandments is to Shmirat Adamah, guard the earth, right? So we take care of the earth. So the fact that people get $10 to go then cool off and have lunch together, that's going to come from our Kadima campaign. So I just want to give people examples of how we use, well, that's not the only way, but that's one of the ways. Okay. So as we move to the end of our service, we are going to continue with You've Got to Move. It's in lieu of our pre-Kaddish reading.
Just so you know, I have a deal with Harper. She likes me to play this. So anytime Harper's here, I'm kind of obligated to do this. You got to move. You got to move. You got to move, child. You got to move. When the Lord gets ready, well, you got to move. Again, you got to move. You got to move. You got to move, child. You got to move. When the Lord gets ready, well, you got to move. You might those people, they're walking the street. See the policeman, he's walking his beat. When the Lord gets ready, well, you got to move. You got to move. You got to move. You got to move, child. You got to move. When the Lord gets ready, well, you got to move.
If you are here to recite Kaddish for a loved one, you're invited to rise when their name is read aloud. Tonight we remember Anna Eleanor Fenwick, Bessie Kahn, Craig H. Saper, Florence Levin, Sam Richards, Faye Barron, Julius Frank, Senator Joe Lieberman. We're in a period of Shloshim, the first 30 days of mourning, for Trina Postlethwaite, Rabbi Dr. Andrea Weiss, and Marvin Fleischman. Zichronam Livracha, may their memories be for a blessing, and may they rest in peace. Let us recite Kaddish together, page 294. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, bi'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayeichon uvyomeichon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uvizman kari v'yimeru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach leolam olamei olmaya, Yit barach, v'yish tabach, v'yit pa'ar, v'yit roman, v'yit naseh, v'yit adar, v'yit alev, v'yit alal, shemei dekudasha, berichu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran bi'alma v'yimeru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimeru amen. Oseh shalom b'romav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'yimeru amen. May the source of peace and peace to all who mourn, and comfort to all who are bereaved, as we say together, amen. Our concluding song this evening can be found on the bottom of page 341. It's Lo Yisagoy, some of the verses we talked about earlier, and our wish that war will end.
Lo yisagoy el goy heret, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy heret, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy heret, lo yilmedu od milchama. Lo yisagoy el goy heret, lo yilmedu od milchama.
Turn to someone near you and wish them Shabbat Shalom.